Hello, and welcome to Sanlando Soundwaves. I'm Michelle Muscus, and this is week 24, 116, and today we are reading 1 Samuel 18, 6 through 16. When the men were returning home after David had killed the Philistine, the women came out from all the towns of Israel to meet King Saul with singing and dancing, with joyful songs and with timbrels and lyres. As they danced, they sang, "Saul has slain his thousands, and David his tens of thousands." Saul was very angry. This refrain displeased him greatly. They have credited David with tens of thousands. He thought, but me with only thousands. What more can he get but the kingdom? And from that time on, Saul kept a close eye on David. The next day, an evil spirit from God came forcefully on Saul. He was prophesying in his house, while David was playing the lyre, as he usually did. Saul had a spear in his hand, and he hurled it, saying to himself, "I'll pin David to the wall." But David eluded him twice. Saul was afraid of David, because the Lord was with David, but had departed from Saul. So he sent David away from him and gave him command over 1,000 men. And David led the troops in their campaigns. In everything he did, he had great success, because the Lord was with him. When Saul saw how successful he was afraid of him. But all Israel and Judah loved David, because he led them in their campaigns. And now, let's read and reflect on our 7 arrows. Number 1, what does this passage say? Number 2, what did this passage mean to its original audience? 3, what does this passage tell us about God? 4, what does this passage tell us about human beings? 5, what does this passage demand of me? 6, how does the passage change the way I relate to people? 7, what does this passage prompt me to pray to God? Let's read a brief devotional about this passage from our book, The 7 Arrows. Saul no longer carried the title of God's chosen king, but he still craved power. And when David received praise for defeating Goliath, Saul exploded in anger. This jealousy sparked a rivalry Saul felt toward David for years to come. Saul and his men would seek to kill David time and time again. When you read the Psalms written by David, you will notice he often speaks of enemies like Saul seeking to destroy him. Throughout his life, David suffered at the hands of the first king of Israel. David certainly had enough trouble on his hands in the form of the foreign armies, but he often suffered from internal rivalries and divisions. The people of God quite literally imploded from the inside out. This tragic story reminds us of the great need for God's people to walk faithfully with God and live in unity with one another. Jealousy and division result from a sinful heart in rebellion to God, which can destroy people, churches, and even nations. Thanks for joining us. We hope to see you again tomorrow.